What's cracking, guys? Christian Electrician, bringing you guys on for another ride along vlog part 2. Today I want to talk to you guys about being above, transcending your current situation, rising above, being the top of your class, being the best that you can be. And how do you do that? By liking the video, subscribing. Come on, guys. Like and subscribe. Now, all jokes aside, I want to talk to you guys about transcending, rising above, being the top of your class, wherever you're at right now. And how do you do that? Well, you reap what you sow, guys. I know I say that a lot on this channel, but that's a truth I live by. You reap what you sow. So you got to put in the hard work. You know how you gain skills? You gain skills by putting in the hard work, and then you gain skills, which or another way of saying that is you become talented. You can't. Some people, they say, are born with natural talent. You got to work. You got to work for what you want. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not talking about people that are born tall and people that are born short. I'm not talking about physical characteristics. I'm talking about skills that you acquire from working. No matter what your career path is, if it's in the trades or if it's a white collar, blue collar, whatever it is, you reap what you sow. So if you work hard at whatever it is that you're doing, you're gonna get better at it. Just like working in the trades. When you start, doing a bunch of roughing in a building, if you're an electrician, you're doing a bunch of roughing. The first day you do it, you're like, man, what is this? What are these tools? What's MC? How do I run this? What did my foreman just say? I don't want to tell him I didn't understand him for the fifth time. As you go about doing things and you keep that repetition and that time just accumulates, if you're working 5 days a week, boom, every week you got 5 days of 8 hours of just working, and or more or less, but nevertheless you're learning. So what do I mean by transcend? Well, if you want to make more money, you got to be more valuable. If you want to learn new things, you got to be able to take risks. You got to be able to say, you know what? I don't know how to use that piece of machine. I don't know how to drive that mini excavator. I don't know how to drive that backhoe. Man, I never pulled the trailer before. Man, I never operated a grade all. You got to be willing to say, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Just say, hey, I don't know how to do it, but I'll learn. Just be teachable. If you're an older guy and you got a bunch of skills, what's the kind of person you're going to want to teach? A humble guy who's going to work hard, who's willing to learn. And if you got a foreman that's not like that, maybe you got to go work somewhere else. You got to think about that. If you're at a place where they're not giving you any opportunity, you got to change your environment. And that's what comes with, if you want to be the best at whatever it is you're doing, electrical, carpentry, working on cars, welding, whatever it is, you got to be in the books. You got to be reading about it. If you're working on a Honda, you got to read the manual on a Honda, a Chevy, a Ford, whatever the case is. With the electrical, you got to be in the National Electric Code Book. You got to know how to navigate that thing. And so on and so forth for plumbing and carpentry. If you want to learn how to build a table, you got to look up some dimensions, right? So you got to be willing to read. You got to be willing to read the books. You can show up and go, hey boss, what is it that you want me to do? But then if your boss has to continuously lay you out and like it's not sticking in your head, you don't know what you're doing, then, you know, your boss is, you're pretty much just going to stay right there. Once you start learning how to read plans, that's when you can go, okay, I'll follow the plans, you know, and I'll do this, you know. You know, some places you work for, some of those, you may have a foreman who isn't trying to be the best, who's not trying to excel, who's trying to do the bare minimum, who's just skating by. That's okay. You're there to learn whatever it is you got to learn. You're there for the paycheck, but it's okay to look for somewhere else. It's okay to go somewhere else. You're trying to be the best that you can be. And if you're doing better, you can help other people become better. And you know what? You're going to have haters all the time, guys. You know why people hate? Because they're too scared to step out of their comfort zone and go try to learn themselves. And that's why I want to talk too about, I kind of hit on a few different things already, but I want to talk to you guys about being of the crowd. You know, you guys have heard that saying, you're either an eagle or you're a turkey. An eagle, you know, they fly high in the sky. You know, they're on the top part of the mountain, but they're alone. But turkeys, they're common, but there's a lot of them. But they're for common things, you know, they're just for food. So if you just want to be, you know, your typical, I just want to work and then party on the weekend, you know, every weekend, I'm looking forward to every time it's the weekend so I can party. Man, if you don't have goals for yourself, if you don't have ambitions, if you don't have dreams, if you don't have desires, you only have one life. You only have one life. So it's good to have dreams. It's good to have ambitions. It's good to leave a legacy behind. You know, there's a saying, and I don't watch movies like that no more, but just because it popped in my head, there's a movie called Troy. And there's a warrior on the other side of the war. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. But there's a big warrior, big old buff dude. And the kings have both of their kingdoms ready to go to war with each other. And then the kings say, hey, you know what? Your best fighter against my best fighter. And so long story short, they get this guy Achilles. And he's kind of like a Sigma male. You know, he's over there doing his own thing. He's not even on the battle, but he's the best warrior. So they get him to go fight this big old buff dude. And this little kid that tells him, hey, the king's looking for you. He goes, what does he want? And the kid tells Achilles, he wants you to go fight this warrior. And he's like, if I were you, I wouldn't fight him. And then Achilles tells him, that's why no one will remember your name. See, no one will remember your name, remember who you are, remember what you stand for, or any of that, because you're too scared to go out and try. So what if you go out and try and you fail? So what if you go out there and you try a new piece of machinery and you're not the best? So what if you got to ask 20 questions until you get it right? The fact is, you're doing whatever it takes to learn. And once you learn that skill, you got another skill on your belt. You see what I'm getting at? The more you put yourself out there, the more you work hard, the more skills you're going to learn, the more useful you're going to be, the more tools you're going to have in your belt. You got to be willing to go out there and try it. And then all those skills are just going to start stacking, accumulating over and over and over and over and over. Then you're going to be looking back after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15, 20 years, 30 years. And you're going to be like, man, I've gone through a lot of stuff, you know. And then you could have apprentices. By then you'll be a foreman or a business owner. And then you could train people. The cool thing about having a business or being a foreman is you can kind of set your own tone with your crew, you know. I'm someone that likes to work hard, make top dollar, work hard, and because you reap what you sow. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys, you know. Kind of rambled on there a little bit, but the main point is If you want to be the top at what you do, whatever it is that you're doing, I don't care if you're playing games on Twitch, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're working at McDonald's right now, just work hard. Keep that job until you find another job. If you're working at a company and they don't take care of you, okay, I'll stay here and save up my money, you know, and then you go to another job and find something else. The cool thing is with companies, there's always another company doing. If you're in warehouses, there's always another warehouse. If you're an electrician, there's always another electrical job. If you're a plumber, there's always another plumbing company, so on and so forth. If you work in the office, there's a whole bunch of offices out there. If you're a manager at an office, there's a whole bunch of manager positions elsewhere. You don't ever have to be stuck and stay stagnant. You could always go somewhere else, you know? I've worked for companies that paid me peanuts, you know? And then I go work for another company, you know? Oh man, I've learned stuff. Maybe you're at a company and where you're not necessarily learning skills. Well, guess what? Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else where they actually know what they're doing. And that's the thing, like being an adult, being a man, you got to take the initiative. You got to go out there and find your work. You got to go out there, and it's when you're a man, society does not care about a man. I don't care what you've gone through in your life. Society expects men to just be quiet and just work hard, you know? And for me, I'm glad for like my Christian faith, you know, I can go talk to people in the church, you know, we try to be like Jesus to one another, you know, but that's another topic, but essentially what I'm getting at is just try to transcend it and be better, do better. And yeah. Yep. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I got to share for today. You know, hope you guys are all doing well. We're now in fall. It's September 23rd. And holidays will be approaching soon, you know. So I don't know where you're at right now, but if you like these videos, please subscribe, hit a like button. I do tool comparison videos. I started this channel a couple months ago, and I'll be posting more electrical topics. As I mentioned before, you know, I'm starting a business, so I'll keep you guys posted on that right now. I'm just waiting on some paperwork from the government. And peace.